All right. Hey, everybody. TG here. It's August or October 28th, almost Halloween. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thank you. Looks like we're good to go. And we're out there on the social medias as well. Got all sorts of different things: YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn. And the market is coming down a bit, which is perfect. This is what we were looking for today. And to give you guys a little bit of a insight underneath the hood, what I've been looking for, and let's see, what I've been looking for is you can see that the advanced decline here, which is in the bottom left of my indicator or my internals screen, you can see that we've been declining over the last couple days. Not to mention that the market has been straight up for, I think we're going on our fourth day. And we opened with a little bit of a gap up that seems to be failing, which is good. We have a call credit spread on, which is now outside of the money, which is good. So that should be working. And the notable difference that today is the advanced decline is actually negative today, despite the market being up. And so what that's telling me is that they're a bad breadth. That basically you have a handful of stocks like the mega caps. I think Microsoft is up quite a bit today, and we have that holding the market up when actually the majority of other stocks are actually down today. And then you can see here, here's our order flow. And you can see it's just gotten progressively weaker. It was up and then up a little bit, then less, and now it's negative. And these are the things that we need to start paying attention to. Vibrations, you're making me laugh over here. Trying to read while I do this kind of stuff. See you guys. And then watching the ticks, they kind of popped up a little bit, but now they're kind of coming back down. And we'll see about that if that kind of continues. So yeah, I just think that this market's a little bit overdone and we should see things pulling back. We have a position based on that. And so far, so good. But yeah, and brighter side, if you're out there, I know you were talking about this. You're like, hey, I think we see more upside tomorrow, which would be today. And I think we're both right. You were correct that, yep, we got an extra little move. And yesterday when we were in the chat, I said, that's why I put our call credit spread on for Wednesday, because if we did happen to gap up even more today, I didn't think we were going to stay up there and that we should actually see price come back down. And I think so far we are seeing that. And you just look here on the hourly chart, it is literally up in space. That thing is just way, way, way up there. And so, yeah, I want to see this thing kind of coming back down. Yeah, Andrew, right there is a leverage ETF for everything. In fact, I'm waiting for these 5Xers to come out. That should be exciting. I'll see if I can try my hand on a few of them and see how they do. I have a buddy who's been showing me that there are more the 2X leverage ETFs coming out. So yeah, they're prevalent. Yeah, mints. Good job. Yeah, that's the one for the bad breath. All right, so we got that. We've got the SPX coming down. Just a variety of things kind of showing me that this should be on its way lower. And then if we actually look at the UVIX, and if we look at the lower time frame here, we can see that we're starting to see some positive divergence. And even today, you can see that the UVX is moving up. It's holding the 2-minute 50. It's holding the 5-minute 50. The Moxie indicators above zero on both of these. And we're starting to see some strength here on the 15 as well. So this just kind of also shows me that the market is likely to be coming down simply because it's just so high up. And we just had to time it properly. And I think that's what we got today. And one other thing that you can see is notice how the UVX actually made a higher low despite the market making a higher high. And that was another form of divergence that we see in through here. Yeah, Andrew. So we're watching this. The market's coming down a bit. I'm watching this on my other screen and whatnot. And as I said, I'm pretty happy about that. That's what we wanted to be looking for. And that'll make our call credit spread work, which I think we are almost positive. We're almost profitable on that call credit spread. Expires tomorrow. So I think that should be good. Do remember, guys, that we have a few things happening tomorrow. We've got the Fed. They're going to be doing another interest rate decision. I believe they are going to be cutting interest rates again tomorrow. And this maybe there are a lot of reasons why the market's up right now. Maybe part of it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news situation, whatever that's going to end up being. And then we also have some of the mega cap FANG stock earnings after the bell on Wednesday, and then we also have Thursday. So those are going to be notable. And then we have Trump and Xi meeting in South Korea on Thursday. And I'm kind of wondering when we're going to hear the news about that. I assume Friday. And yeah, the market's just very, very extended. So I'd like to see some things come back down. I'm not shorting the market, but I am selling credit above because I don't think price is going to stay up here. And I'd like to see it come down a little bit. And that's what we're doing and through here. Norelco, you were asking a question about how do I do my screening preferences. So if you give me a thumbs up or a yes if you're listening, because then maybe kind of take some notes, because I can talk about this, yeah, pretty quickly and run you through some of the things that I'm looking for. And I can do it based on, let's see, some of these tickers that I'm looking at. Let's just do RCAT, for example. Norelco, you out there? I want to make sure I answer your question if you can hear me. Otherwise, I will move on to something else until. Okay, good. So one of the things when you talk about the screener and you talk about what I do as far as selecting or filtering out things, because if you're looking for a screener, I like to start from the higher time frames and work my way down. So, for example, I'm there are always exceptions to this, but for the most part, if I'm going to be trading something long, which is what we're looking for, I'm going to want price to be over the monthly 10. So make that one of your screening parameters. If it's below the monthly 10, yeah, just ignore it. Probably don't want to know about it. The other thing is probably over something like the weekly 50 or the weekly 30, depends on what you want there. But again, that's just another thing to make sure that price is actually above these higher time frame moving averages to make sure that just in the greater sense of the stock, you're actually above these moving averages. Now, of course, there will be times where price kind of dips below it. It's fine. But for the most part, I'm trying to say I want to see price over these moving averages. That should cut out a lot of the chaff. From there, you can. I also like to do volume. I usually say about 500,000 shares traded per day as an average. You could also scan or screen for abnormal volume. You could scan or screen for increasing volume over the last 5 days if you wanted to find something more relevant and something that may be happening right here, right now. And then if we come down to, say, the daily and hourly, generally speaking, I would want to scan for something over the daily 50. That also helps make sure that you are in an uptrend, because even though there is an up move, you can see that price was below the daily 50, and that's not what you want. Now, of course, there are going to be dips, dips and dips in an uptrend. And so that's where you'd have to kind of decide as your filtering mechanism, do you want to do that or not? And this is why maybe on a daily basis, you can scan for these things, and then you'd find it when it comes back above the daily 50. I would say at least you want price to be over the daily 200, because that is the more major trend. And as long as price is over the daily 200, then most likely it's not in a major downtrend. The other thing you could do if you wanted to be a little bit more precise, maybe you could remove the requirement to have price over the daily 50. And you could say, I want price over the hourly 50. Now you're going to get more results. And not all those results are going to confirm that you are in an uptrend. Because, for example, you could get this, prices could be over the hourly 50, but you're going to be still below the daily 50. So the challenge is if you overly restrict or make your scans too precise, you run the risk of actually not getting the wide enough range of stocks that you're looking for. I would say, generally I like to see price over the daily 50, but remember, then you would be excluding the occasional times that price in an uptrend could be dipping below the daily 50. And if you're looking to buy those dips, then you'd exclude yourself from that. But as I said, one way to kind of fix that is you don't scan for the daily 50, but you scan for the hourly 50. And that's where, in some case like this, you could at least get price back over the hourly 50 or, over the hourly 50 or something to that extent. And I think that's, generally speaking, I keep my scans pretty simple. I just want to make sure that I have a stock that's in an uptrend. I want to make sure it has enough volume. And then you can also scan by price. Maybe you don't want to be scanning for stocks that cost 20 cents. Maybe you want to scan for stocks that are at least over $2. And not that a stock that costs $500 is a problem, but maybe you want to scan for stuff that's under 500 or under 300 or whatever, things like that. And so, Norelco, let me know if that kind of answers your questions. And Larry, yes, the Moxie indicator is part of my scan criteria, but Norelco was using FinViz for his question, and so there's no Moxie indicator in FinViz. And so the scan for the Moxie indicator is a separate thing. But as far as a stock structure, this is what I look at and what I'm trying to look for. So yeah, pretty simple, honestly. Of course, you can get kind of mild to wild and look for other different things, but really, I'm just trying to find stocks that are in an uptrend, and then I go through and look at them. Okay, and then for those of you out there on the social medias, I want to make sure you guys know that the special that we're running, the indicator of the month for October, it's going to be expiring 2 days from now. So October 30th is going to be the last day that you guys can pick up any of these specials. And we've been looking at the stats. 85% of people who have been purchasing things have been purchasing the Pro. And it's because you get a lot of different things for a good price with the most discount. And I really believe that this market is very, very strong. I think we're going to continue to see upside movement, especially into next year. And that's why I think a lot of people are also buying the annual because they want to be around. They want to be around for this and learn from what I do. So remember simplertrading.com/MIM. I just heard a ding go off. I wonder what that was. You guys ever have that where you've got trades or alerts or something set and somehow it just something in the background just went off and now I got to figure out what that was when I'm done with you guys. Yeah, it's like which one of the 6 accounts did I put that one on? Great. You guys have any clues of how to do that? Because otherwise I just got to go through and look at the history and just see what triggered. But bottom of my messages, huh? Well, then I probably have to look for where are the messages on this thing anyway. I have to go probably through each account also. Yeah, I'll get to that a little bit later. Yeah. Oh well, it's just funny when I hear. Usually I just kind of buy limit order, and like when I make sure I get in, I just get in. I don't really like to have things sitting out there and waiting. Oh yeah, yeah. The top right messages. Yeah, I'll just look through my various accounts again. I'll just do a checkup. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking for. Make sure that if you guys want, we've got that special running, and we keep seeing people kind of trickle in until October 30th. And let's see what else you guys looking at here. Yeah, Tommy, you're like, yeah, the truth is this room and everyone in it knows what stocks and companies are good to trade. And I keep telling people that a lot of times you guys ask me like, hey, can we learn about the scanner again? What do you do about scanning? I said, honestly, I don't really scan. What I do is I sort. I use the Moxie indicator to sort my watch list, but I don't really scan because I feel like over the years I've pretty much added all the stocks that I ever need to, or the new ones that come out like BLSH or Fig or Circle or CoreWeave or any of the ones that are going to be interesting to trade or are new have already risen to the surface and I'm aware of them and just we hear about them. So I kind of don't need to because I'm in the world and that's what we just hear. And same thing if you guys are in the room or heck you're on X or something like that, that's where you're going to be hearing about most of these stocks and trades, and just pay attention to what people are trading. I don't think we need to be really trading the really obscure names that nobody knows about, even though there happens to be a move in it. Like, if you want to keep things easy, just pay attention to what's working for you and what's working out there. Yeah, trade. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go back through my accounts and look at the monitor tab and trade history. see what clicked off on there for me. Larry, yeah, I've had all of my email things canceled. We do so much trading in here. I get enough emails from Schwab. They all go into a folder. I delete it every few days. And then same thing with all of I would not want email confirmations from every single thing I do. Yeah. So don't really want to do that. And then Larry, what kind of Moxie parameter scans? Well, remember there are a variety of scans for the Moxie indicator. You can scan for a trampoline move, which is priced below the 50, but the Moxie indicator above 0. You can scan for an inverse trampoline move, or you can scan for Moxie price triggers, which is when the Moxie indicator goes above or below 0. And you can do this on the weekly, the daily, or the hourly time frame. So basically 2 different scans. positive or negative, on 3 different time frames. And if you want to multiply all those across, that's how many different ways you can scan for the Moxie indicator. But we do keep it pretty simple. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Kurt, DNA, still just kind of being a little tired. With the market being up so much, I'm just waiting for it to pull back a little bit, which means I'm seeing a lot of other names that I'm waiting for them to pull back so that we can actually get into a viable area. I have been watching DNA very, very closely, but you can see it still has not gotten over the moving averages on the lower time frames and just has not actually fired any kind of buy thing. Now, I have said if you're very interested in this, I said I think you could start building a position, but that means you take little baby bites. Okay, because you can see we have not actually confirmed. I just think we're getting into an area, namely the daily 50 and this prior price area, that I think it's going to start coming to support, and I think it's going to start hammering out a bottom. But if it didn't go up with the market yet, then it's unlikely that it's going to go up when the market's topped out and probably going to start coming down a little bit. And so that's why I think you're seeing this thing just not kind of working yet, because, well, the market's topped out and we're going to see the market probably soften up over the next few days. And so we just need to watch. Now, what you'd want to see as far as a relative strength is you want to see if does DNA actually continue to hold this level even though the market pulls back? That would be good. And that's what you want to start watching for. But yeah, just there's no signal here. It's still underneath the 15-minute 50. Just got rejected by the hourly 50, but it is at the daily 50, and it's just kind of working its way lower a little bit. So nothing too bad. Nothing too bad here. And then let's see, flux. It always reminds me of either the flux capacitor or when I was welding. I actually have a degree in welding and then brazing, and you use flux to help the metal flow. Let's see, flux. Yeah, it looks like it kind of got a little extended. Yeah, I mean, look at this thing. Great move, but it was way outside the weekly 3rd ATR, and it pulled away from the weekly 8 EMA. And if you look left, it kind of went right into kind of this previous price area. In fact, you can draw a line right there, and you can just see it kind of went right into it. So yeah, just got a little extended for now, and it's coming down. And talk about the Moxie indicator, right on cue. And you could even see higher price, lower Moxie indicator. There was your negative divergence. And now this thing is falling off of the hourly 50 and basically starting to come back down towards the daily 50. This is a really big move to the upside, which is great. But you need to realize that when you start getting too extended, you run the risk of a pullback. And so far, I'd say that's all this is. I don't know how bad it's going to be. I don't know if this is the end of the move or anything else like that. All I can tell you is had a nice move to the upside, got extended, and now it's in the process of either digesting or pulling back or both, or kind of in that sense. Trade JV. I believe I've actually done that a couple times. I have sent my entire general watch list to you guys before, and I've had a couple of you guys convert it into an Excel spreadsheet. I'm happy to do it again if anybody wants it, but there's nothing magical about it. There are several hundred names on it, and I scroll through it every few days just to kind of get a feel for what the market's doing. Let's see, Norarco. So part of your scan, you'd see you did JP Morgan, and this morning using a simple 10 billion cap under daily 50. Surprise, JP Morgan showed up. Well, I don't know what you're trying to scan for necessarily on this. Looks like you got some parameters, but JP Morgan is in an uptrend. It has been recently pulling back here on the weekly chart into the weekly 21. And then if you look down here on, say, the daily, I would just really say that is just a pullback. And now you're actually trying to figure out if this is actually going to start moving up. But remember, guys, this is going to be a process. You look at this hourly chart, it is in the process of trying to actually get over that hourly 50 and then turn that hourly 50 up for support. And so that's what you're waiting for. Yes, this has been a nice big first move, but now you want to see the thing kind of come down, see if it finds support, and then see if it goes higher. That's what we've been talking about this week. That's why, even though we've had a really great day in our accounts on Monday and today, I think we should be prepared that some of these names should be coming back down, because we don't want to chase these things. For something like Grab too. I mean, Grab had a good move and it continued to push up this morning, but look what it's doing now. It's pulling back. And this is what I've been trying to tell you guys, is that I love the market. Market's making new all-time highs. It's doing awesome. but it's also very extended. And a lot of names, this is really what I was on the mic with you guys yesterday. A lot of names are still in the process of actually coming out of their pullbacks. And that's what you can see here, even on Grab. Grab has been pulling back for a couple few weeks, whatever. And it has, I think, reached its low, but and it's moved up. But that doesn't mean that it's ready to continue moving up. It probably needs to pull back, find support, and then go back up again. And that's why I spent most of yesterday with you guys saying, hey, if you're feeling FOMO, there's still plenty of opportunity out there to be able to get into this market. And so, again, those of you out there on the social medias, if you're watching me, if you're feeling FOMO with this market because the SPX is at new all-time highs, we've been going around in the Moxie room saying, just be a little bit patient. Not everything is on board. Amazingly, not everything's on board. Let it come down a little bit, and then I think this pullback that we're starting to experience will actually be pretty good and healthy, and then we can go shopping again. Okay, so I'm just gonna let me sign off with the social media people. Remember, come over here to simplertrading.com/MIM, which stands for Moxie Indicator Mastery, and we've got the sale going for 2 more days until October 30th. And yeah, as I said, most people are signing up for the pro version just because you get so many goodies in it. Okay, guys.